I guess, yeah, shout out to God for raising me and my family for being around me. And I want to give shout out to the people of my generation that's trying to do something big.
You're listening to Gye-Nyame Radio.
Peace, Hotep. This man saw Hotep, aka Mr. Deity. Mr. Deity doesn't sound good. I think it sounds great. Right now, you're listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. If you're not adding anything to the culture that you claim,
you don't deserve to carry his name.
This is Brother Hotep coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame.
Get up on that app, family.
Radio. Shout out to the Gye-Nyame tribe, Gye-Nyame family. Stand up, please.
Time to brew. I haven't started brewing yet. I'm gonna get the brewing. I promise. Alright.
If you're not adding anything to the culture that you claim, you don't deserve to carry your name. This is Brother Hotep coming at you live, and you are now listening to the Gye-Nyame
Live chat is on.
Radio. Shout out to Children's Social. Stand up. You are now listening to Gye-Nyame Journey Radio. Peace. This is Gina. You are now on Gye-Nyame Radio. Peace.
We had enough. Had enough. I have had enough. Alright, family, let's go and look. I want to look at some of the statistics real quick. I want to check out some of the stuff on the show so I can let y'all know where the listeners are coming from. We want to see the stats and see where the people's coming from. See, this is how cold this new technology is, right? So it says from 625 to 724, which is today, we had listenable 968 episodes on Gye-Nyame Journey. That's on Gye-Nyame Journey alone. Now, the only problem with the new app, because I need the family to know this, the only problem with the new app is that I have to do everything on Gye-Nyame Journey. Folktale for grown folks, Folktale for grown folk actually had his own show, but right now our budget does not allow us to have an app for Folktales for grown folk. We only got an app for Gye-Nyame Journey. So all my shows have to go up under Gye-Nyame Journey. So on Gye-Nyame Journey, we have 968 episodes. A total of 21,159 plays, 1,535 downloads. We got 4,308 total listening hours. This means that people have given us 4,308 hours of their time to listen to what we've been doing. Now, with this app,
this call is being recorded.
With this app, I can also tell you when people have been listening and what they have been listening to, what they've been listening to the most, And there is some place on here where I can tell you exactly what part of the world. Oh, here we go. Geolocation. Let's look at geolocation here. Let's see. Be able to tell you they got a map where they lay out and they tell us where majority. All right, family. Come on now. We can do better than this. But hey, I'm not mad. 28.2% from Columbus, Ohio. 16.32% from Mount View, California. Ashburn, Virginia, 12.5. Queenstown, Maryland, 9.38. Grayson, Maryland, 903. Shouts out to Maryland, I see. Highland Park, Michigan. We got 3.13%. Detroit, Michigan, we got 2.8%. Cleveland, Ohio, 1.74%. That must be shocker. In Philadelphia, we got 1.39%. And Pleasantville, New Jersey, 1.39%. Now, I want to get a little bit more international. I feel kind of locked in here. Let's look at the demographics here. Demographics on, and this just on, this ain't the Facebook piece. This is just Spreaker. Demographics. I'm not going to read that there. All right, hold on. Damn, according to the demographics, it say that we got 100% males listening to the show. Between 45 and 54. All nation builder age. But that's wrong. All right. It tells me exactly where everybody's coming from. And it even point out what devices. And I know a majority of the people is listening. Well, damn, I got 32.1% listening to me on iOS. 85% listening to me. Well, this don't make no sense to me. All right. Operating system. Mac OS, 2.47%. Windows, of course, 32.1%. I didn't know we had this many Linux users. 65.43. 85% is Android. 14% is iOS. We got a small amount listening on tablet. A majority of the people's listening on mobile. I don't know what others. All right, but who on the line? Somebody on the line. What's going on? Who on the line? Talk to me real quick.
Lady J.
What's up, Lady J? You was all patient with me and stuff. What's going on with you today?
Not much.
All right, so you ready for this folktale?
I am.
All right. Did you hear it? Did you hear it this morning, or you don't know which one it is right now?
No, I didn't hear it this morning. No.
All right, cool. This one is going to be a good one. Now I'm taking a shot of this ambrosia. This is that strong phoenix blood, and we're gonna go on and get right into this discussion. But I want now in the news that I've been covering for the last couple of days. In the last few days, we have had violent attacks against black folk. So I need everybody to be vigilant in what you do. You know what I'm saying? Be vigilant in what you do. California and Florida, you know what I'm saying? Pretty far from us, but you know, the media makes everything kind of, you know what I'm saying? The media makes everything close, right? So we never know what type of fuckery is going on in Ohio. So please beware. Y'all see where we got people listening. So please beware. We're going to try to get this little piece all over the world once again because we was a little bit more international last year. So I don't know what I did. I must have pissed some people off, but that's what you do. All right, here we go. Folktale today. A peasant had in his garden an apple tree, which bore no fruit, but only served as a harbor for the sparrows and the grasshoppers. He resolved to cut it down, and taking his axe in his hand, made a bold stroke at its roots. The grasshoppers and the sparrows entreated him not to cut down the tree that sheltered them, but to spare it, and they would sing to him and lighten his labors. He paid no attention to their request, but gave the tree a second and a third blow with his axe. When he reached the hollow of the tree, he found a hive full of honey. Having tasted the honeycomb, he threw down his axe and looking on a tree is sacred, took great care of it. And the moral of the story says, self-interest alone moves some men. So that's the folk tale. Very simple, very straight to the point, and very enlightening if you take the time to look at the story. Like I asked y'all this morning, are you the peasant? Are you the sparrow and the grasshoppers? Are you the tree? Or are you the honeycomb? Have you ever been in any of these situations? How does this story apply to your life? How does this story apply to our community life, our tribal life? How does this story apply to our national life? You know what I'm saying? So, Lady J, you want to take a stab at it first? Shouts out to Miss CeeLo. I see you out there. See you out there, Miss Jackson. Go ahead. Miss Jackson West, actually. Go ahead. Hot damn. Uh-oh. She said,
no, you can go first.
oh, okay. You sure? You sure?
I'm positive.
All right, cool. So, family, here we go. We have a peasant.
I do want to say you can't judge a book by its cover, but that's it.
You want to explain that one?
Yeah, he just said that he was looking at that tree and he was looking for it to bear fruit and not realizing that it was providing it was providing that honey.
Providing it for who?
It says bees, right? But
Yeah.
now that's something he could use. He was looking for it to bear fruit and was upset when it bared no fruit and thought it to be useless.
Right.
But here it was providing honey.
Now, and the piece we got to look at is, because you mentioned bees, it didn't say anything about bees. It just said that when he reached the hollow of the tree, he found a hive full of honey. Now, if it was bees in the hive, he would have found something else. He would have found pain and suffering. He found a hive.
Well, it said, I'm reading it, and I apologize, but it says it contained a swarm of bees and a large store of honey. Delighted with his new find, he threw down his axe, saying, "The old tree."
Hey. Get on the translated by George Fallon Townsend. Don't come with no other translations. I'm telling you, I just read the story. Mine don't got no swarm of bees. Mine says he found a honeycomb.
How would you get honey? How would you get honey without bees?
Well, let me ask you a question. Why would you make a tree sacred if it was he made the tree sacred, not the beehive? Am I right or am I wrong? There's no magic. There's no magic.
How would you have honey if you didn't have?
If you didn't have bees, I give you example from my life.
Even with the bees, even if the bees were there, he still said that the tree was worth keeping after all.
Right, right, because he made it sacred. It says in my translation, he said the tree, looking on the tree as sacred. Now, that was for me, in my version, because they didn't mention bees or a swarm of bees, because my issue is, I have heard of bees, what is it when you leave something? Abandoning a hive. Matter of fact, I remember when I was younger, a gentleman found, him and a crew of dudes found a beehive that had been abandoned by the bees, and they snatched all the honey. As a matter of fact, he gave us enough honey that I was eating honey for about 3 months. So it is possible to find honey without bees. I'm just saying. And it don't rot, so it can sit there for years, and you might not even know that it's there. See, because I'm like this. How could you have this tree in your yard and not notice that bees was in it. He noticed the swallows. He noticed the grasshoppers. As a matter of fact, they spoke to him. Right? Said nothing in my story about the bees. But go and read your version. Let me hear your version.
It's the same.
No, it's not. It's not the same.
Okay, you want me to read my version?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Because you come on with different stuff all the time. Starting trouble. There you go. Young Pisces. Can't help yourself. Go ahead.
Okay, hold on. It's called the what?
What?
The Peasant. It pulled me out of it. The Peasant and the Apple Tree.
The Peasant and the Apple Tree.
Yeah, I'm at 2%, so if my phone cuts off, I'm going to call right back. A peasant had an apple tree growing in his garden, which bore no fruit, but merely served to provide shelter from the heat for the sparrows and the grasshoppers, which sat and chirped in the branches. Disappointed at its barrenness, he determined to cut it down and went and fetched his axe for the purpose. But when the sparrows and the grasshoppers saw what he was about to do, they begged him to spare it and said to him, "If you destroy the tree, we shall have to seek shelter elsewhere, and you will no longer have our merry chirping to enliven your work in the garden." He, however, refused to listen to them and set to work with the wheel to cut through the trunk. A few strokes showed that it was hollow inside and contained a swarm of bees and a large store of honey. Delighted with his find, he threw down his axe, saying, "The old tree is worth keeping after all." And the moral is, utility is most men's test of worth.
Wow. So, hey, is there a translator on yours? Does it say anything about what version is that? Because mine,
it says Aesop.
No, what I'm saying is because there's different translators. So if you look on there,
Vernon Jones.
Okay, cool.
New translation by D.S. Vernon Jones.
There we go. So mine is translated by George Fowler Thompson. Now this is another lesson for us, family, because they were looking at the exact same story and came up with two different, almost, I ain't gonna say totally different stories, but the different nuances within the story. Hers says he found a swarm of bees. And then it don't say anything about making the tree sacred. You know what I'm saying? Because, when you make something sacred, it's sort of like, I ain't going to say worship it, but you're going to take care of this thing. You know what I'm saying? Rather than just take the honey out, he kept the tree and made the tree sacred. The tree was a major part of his life after that. Right? So, in my story, but in your story, they don't mention anything about him making it sacred. And they talk about utility is what man like about things. And this one is like self-interest alone moves some men, right? So now for me, we'll go. Why don't you hang up and call back in? I'll start talking about what I see. Well, you just gonna hang on.
Okay, you're not the boss of me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk in my house and put my phone on the charger.
I'm not the boss of you. That's what you think. All right. So y'all see the hard times brother go through on here, right? I'm trying to help people, and I'm not the boss and stuff like that. But here we go. So the peasant and the apple tree. Now, first off, I have to look at it what a peasant is, and hopefully we all got a general idea. It's just like me and her story is different, and we basically all got a general idea what a peasant is, right? And we know that a peasant got a hard time. A peasant is usually below the lowest class in a group. You know what I'm saying? Poor, struggling, basically living off the land, right? While other people are living off the work that he does on the land, right? So a peasant is someone that is struggling and poor, and he needs everything in his life to be useful. Everything. So if he got an apple tree in his yard, he needs this apple tree to be producing, right? This apple tree has been sitting here for a couple of years, and this dude has not been able to get any production up out of this tree. right? So the only ones that's able to benefit from it is his neighbors, you know what I'm saying, which are the grasshoppers and the sparrows. These the small birds that's probably eating up shit around his farm, you know what I'm saying, and the grasshoppers. You know, grasshoppers will attack your crops because they become locusts if it's too many of them motherfuckers. They're the ones that's gathering around the tree talking about they need the shade. So for the grasshoppers and the sparrow, the tree is an important thing. Why? Because in the heat of the sun, it provides them with shade. It's probably one of the only things around that will provide them with shade from the sun. So when he decides he's going to cut it down, the sparrows and the grasshoppers are begging him not to. Why? Because it's useful to him, but to them. But to the peasant, that is not useful at all. There's, or as Lady J's version say, there's no utility in it for him. Why should I let this damn tree stay? It provides absolutely nothing for me, right? It's not producing apples, not doing what it's supposed to do. So I need to get rid of this damn thing. Maybe I could put another tree up. It's taking up some space. I ain't got a lot of land anyway. I could grow crops right here. There is no usefulness for this thing for me. Hell with y'all. You know what I'm saying? We'll you know, and the sparrow and the grasshoppers feel that what they do is of value or should be valued by this man. You know what I'm saying? They say, hey, we will sing to lighten your load. But hell, if you poor, you know what I'm saying? You don't care about no goddamn singing. You don't care. I need somebody helping me with the load. I don't need nobody singing to me while I'm out here basically slaving, because a peasant is pretty damn close to a slave. A peasant can't lead a land because he definitely ain't got no money to lead a land. He lives off the land, and every aspect of that land has to produce in some form of fashion so that they can eke out a living. Right? So he needs this tree to be productive. The tree is no longer productive, so now he has to start cutting it down. So he starts cutting at the roots. And he strikes it once, he strikes it twice, he strikes it 3 times. He finds out that the tree is not producing fruit because the tree is hollow. Now, according to my version, they don't mention bees. Now, because I work with honey and because I've been studying honey, I know for a fact that you can have honey without bees. Now, the bees can make honey, but there are accounts of bees leaving the hive, and the honey can sit without going bad. Honey does not go bad, right? Unless it's unless it's water that gets on it, it might turn into mead, alcoholic beverage. But other than that, honey is cool. Honey could sit there as long as it's dry, right? Honey could sit there. Don't matter how hot it gets, don't matter how cold it gets, the honey could sit there. Now, in my story, they talk about it being he kept the tree sacred. Why? Because inside of this empty tree, he found a treasure. That treasure was honey. So obviously that whole inside of that tree was full of honey. Now, for a peasant, that is a great find. One, it's rare that a peasant will be able to get something sweet in his life, especially since the sweetest thing in his yard was not producing. So he's able to get something up out this tree, and then he also able to turn around and sell it. You understand what I'm saying? He's able to turn around and sell it, so it's useful to him. So he's gonna let the tree stand now. So until this honey runs out. But then again, let me say this: in my story, they say he made it sacred. Now, eventually, the honey's gonna run out. I don't know what he's gonna do with the tree after. Well, I do know what he's gonna do with the tree after the honey runs out. After the honey runs out, the tree will no longer be sacred, and he's gonna finish tearing it down. That's my prediction. But one of the things that we have to understand is, if we want to maintain something in our lives, and we want to maintain something, like, for example, in our community, in our group, we got to find and show people how it's useful to them. Many of us want to hold on to shit for sentimental reasons. We want to hold on to stuff for reasons that it makes us feel good. But what is the utility behind it? What is the usefulness behind it? what is the the self-interest that others have for this thing, right? So if we're trying to convince somebody of something, we got to make sure that we're hyping up the aspect of self-interest to them, right? So that they can see the value in it. Because the grasshoppers and the sparrow, and in many cases, family, we got to understand when we asking for stuff here in America, we got to understand we're usually attacking stuff from the standpoint of the sparrow and the grasshopper. What do I mean? I mean, oftentimes we're telling people about how something is useful to us, but we're not really looking at it from the angle. See, because if the grasshoppers was there and the sparrows was there and they was around this tree all this time, there's a good chance that they knew that the tree might have had something that this man could have used. Rather than say, hey, our songs, let us sing, we'll sing for you and lighten your load. No, nigga, tell me something. Tell me something good. Tell me something that I like. Tell me something that, give me something of use that will make me want to keep this tree. I don't want to just keep this tree because it make you feel good as a grasshopper, because as a grasshopper, you do nothing for me. As a sparrow, you do nothing for me. As a matter of fact, y'all pooping all over my yard. Y'all eating up some of my crops. You taking up space. I need y'all to go anyway. What is the usefulness? So when we're approaching people and we're talking to people and we're talking about ideas and we're trying to bring things into our lives, we're trying to bring things into our tribe, we're trying to bring things into our city life, our community life, our national life, we have to look at the self-interest of everybody else around us. How is what I'm asking for? How is what I'm asking you to keep? Or how is what I'm asking you to bring to the group, to the world, how is that going to benefit me? Not just the altruistic. How are you going to make what you're talking about sacred to somebody else so that they can keep your ideas, so that they can make your idea their own and help you bring it to fruition? Many of them just saying, it makes me feel good, so I want it. And it's just the right thing to do. It's moral. But motherfuckers are not moved by that. We got to be very clear with that. When we dealing with politics, when we dealing with economics, even when we dealing with social issues, it's not about making people feel good. It's about how it can be used, how somebody's self-interest, somebody else's self-interest, just besides yours, how they could benefit from it. So I'm gonna leave it right there, Lady J. What you think?
I totally agree.
Now you can't be agreeing with me now. Son, they're going to think I paid you off or something.
No, I agree.
Damn. Let me go on. I did something wrong. Let me go back and read it again. Let's read this again. Something ain't right. Me and Lady J agreeing, huh? I got to see her tomorrow. I don't want to be agreeing with you. It's going to be unpleasant. How I'm going to deal? How I'm going to see you and we agreeing on something? That's not the Gye-Nyame journey way. Hold on. A peasant had in his garden an apple tree. I thought it was a peach tree. Was it a peach tree?
Nah, apple.
Damn. Okay. Which bore no fruit, but only served as a harbor for the sparrows and the grasshoppers. He resolved to cut it down, and taking his axe in his hand, made a bold stroke at its roots. The grasshoppers and sparrows entreated him not to cut down the tree that sheltered them, but the spirit, and he would sing to him and lighten his labors. He paid no attention to their request, but gave the tree a second and third blow with his axe. When he reached the hollow of the tree, he found a hive full of honey. Having tasted the honeycomb, he threw down his axe, and looking on the tree as sacred, took great care of it. Self-interest alone moves some men. Self-interest. Like, for example, family, I'm constantly up here talking about this whole concept of reparations, right? Reparations, right? The great repair, right? And it's like, in many cases, we talk about it, how it's the moral thing to do. But one of the things that I learned a long time ago, and one book that I think a lot of us need to invest some time into reading, is called The 48 Laws of Power. 48 Laws of Power. I read this book, and it kind of blew my mind because in the 48 Laws of Power, one of the laws, I can't remember exactly which laws, so don't quote me on this, but somebody out there does, and they can post it up. But one of the laws talks about, it says, never remind a man about a debt, because no one ever wants to repay a debt. You let them know how what they owe you will benefit them by paying. Right? And the question that we have to think about as human beings is how would America paying reparations benefit America? Hell with the moral, hell with the right. You see what I'm saying? Because that don't move you. That don't move many of us in our lives and in some of the decisions we make. You know what I'm saying? What moves us a lot of times is the self-interest. What can I get out of it? So the whole piece that we have to think about, because like I said, I hear people in the argument of reparations, and I agree with the argument in reparations, or at least the call for reparations. But what I don't agree with a lot of times is the argument, because people are constantly approaching this from a standpoint of it's the moral thing to do, when in fact that we know that morals don't move checkbooks in a lot of cases. What does move checkbooks in a lot of interest is self-interest, is what somebody could get out of it. You know what I'm saying? What does America get out of paying us reparations? You know what I'm saying? Or anything else that you want in your life, something that you want. How you got to be able to look at it from another person's perspective. You know what I'm saying? How does it benefit them to give you what you asking for? You know what I'm saying? So, Lady J, I got a question for you. You still there? She done hung up.
Yes, I'm here.
All right, question.
I'm here.
I got a question for you. You pretty you on the ball most of the times. No, I'm just joking. You on the ball all the time. Question: How could a person structure an argument for something like reparations?
Why are you asking me this?
Well, because it fits in with the story, right? Maybe. Oh, you don't think we deserve reparations?
It's not what I think we deserve. It's not about what I think we deserve. But I do have. I don't even want to say what my view is on reparations because I don't want you to disconnect the call.
I sure will hang up on your ass, but I'm just asking. But I'm just joking. I won't hang up.
How would we structure?
But hold on. That's not a fair question for you then, because I kind of thought that we was in the same mind frame on that. But if we're not, then you wouldn't be able to structure that. But I got a question for you. If it's something that you want, like for example, if it's something that you want,
so my reparations.
Well, hold on, wait! Don't be switching it.
Now you don't want to let me.
I'll let you go, but I don't want you to force it, because you got a different view on reparations. If you're gonna take it out to the left field and be on some unreparations, but you want to make it sound like reparation shit, I don't want to do that. You know what I'm saying? So let's reverse this argument. Let's take reparations off the table. Let's say next year you want to take 100 girls to Simpson. Right? Hello?
Yes, I'm here.
Let's say you want to take 100 girls to Simpson. Right? How do you get people to see their own self-interest in helping you get young people to Simpson?
Give me a second, Miley, please.
Give you who?
Miley, she's bugging me. And so you said, how do I get people to help me get girls to
Simpson? Because the whole piece is this whole folktale is about self-interest. It's about helping other people see their self-interest. Where the sparrow and the grasshoppers felt was they wasn't able to demonstrate to this man, to this peasant, how this tree could be useful to him. It was just it was just by chance that this man found something useful in the tree, and that's when he decided to keep the tree. So the lesson in it that I'm picking up, and I could be wrong, is if I want somebody to do something, if I want somebody to help me, if I want somebody to change something, I have to be able to connect it to their self-interest.
So some years ago, I do the whole fundraiser on the corner soliciting funds thing, right?
Be clear.
So years
Stop. Because I need you to clear that up. Clear that shit up. Because that don't even sound right.
That's what it is, though.
But what do you do?
I'm begging for funds on a corner. That's what it is. And so at a stoplight, because people are stopping, and that's my chance to pitch, my line. But several years ago, I was with a different organization.
You're not selling nothing, are you?
And I was in Graceland, right? So I'm at Graceland, and we are doing the same thing I do with my organization now. But I had this line, and I felt like it was working. And the idea was that you was going to donate to me so that I can provide a program for youth to keep them out of your homes, to keep them from breaking into your places, to keep them from stealing from you. And I can't remember exactly what my line was, but it was most effective. And the reason why I knew it was effective is because when those cars were stopped and I would give them that line, they might ask me something, I would give them that line, they donated quickly. It made sense to them, right? When we think about what goes on with our youth today, not many things have changed other than the fact that they do not, when we think about funding, and this goes back to why it's so important for us to vote for our local initiatives, for our local politics. A lot of that money, when the recession hit, they took a lot of that money away from these programs, closing down your rec centers, closing down swimming pools, making it so that certain programs which used to be reasonable are no longer feasible, right? Mm-hmm. And so that was my line. And I can't remember exactly what I said, but I knew that people were vested in what I was doing because they understood it affected them.
Their self-interest, right?
Their self-interest. So by me keeping these kids engaged, I keep them from coming and being in trouble, basically. Robbing you still, and this was actually at a point where, I mean, when the youth culture was first, when the young people were first, it started engaging in like these
crazy activities. I use the line too, sister.
Hybrid games and things of that sort. Yes, what did you say, sir?
I used the same. I used a very similar line in getting young people when I was getting people to Simba. I used a very similar line to get some people to invest, and I got them to see it as an investment rather than just a donation. They saw their personal interest in it. So for me, one of the things that, like, for example, like one of the things close to my heart is the whole reparation piece. And one of the things that I've been dealing with in my mind is that when people talk about the reparations piece, even though we may have different ideas about it, the whether it's land or whether it's money or whatever, we have to be able to show others how their self-interest will be served. Because one of the key pieces I constantly go back on when I'm really sitting down talking with somebody about reparations is that once you pay into the black folks of America, once you pay them back, in a sense, you know what I'm saying, even though you don't feel you owe them, you're going to stimulate the economy. You want an economic boom? Put money in the hands of black folks. Now, someone was going to go out and save and do some great things, right? Others are going to go out there and gonna totally stimulate the economy. We're gonna buy shit that
You're
we
not
don't
going to
need.
like what I'm about to say.
I'm not gonna like it at all. But I know. I mean, that ain't what this show's about.
You're not going to like it at all.
Go ahead.
You're not going to like it at all.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
So I recently
became a Republican.
So, huh?
Nothing. Go ahead.
Okay, so I recently got a substantial pay raise, right? Well, I've been on this climb within the last couple years, 2013, what year is this, 2018? I'll get another raise this year, but I have doubled my income, right? So this year when I went to file my taxes, I made more money, right?
Which means you pay more taxes.
I got less back.
Right.
What I'm going to say that people are not going to like is that there are some people right now getting reparations. And those people the government are giving.
You about to get clipped.
What?
You about to get clipped. Go ahead.
Okay, I'm about to tell you this.
You about to get clipped.
Why else?
That's not reparations. That's not reparations.
Okay.
You starting shit. You doing this on purpose. You doing it on purpose. You starting shit on purpose. There you go. Go ahead. You starting shit on purpose. Go ahead.
Some people get to live month to month with subsidized housing. They get a food stamp card once a month. They make the minimum so that they can secure those things, and then they get $8,000 back in taxes. $8,000 during taxes.
Lady J.
You haven't worked at all.
Lady
you
J.
haven't paid any taxes. What the hell is that? So my thing is,
Lady J.
to this point,
Lady J.
and I'm speaking. Let me finish.
Hurry up.
Let me finish.
Hurry up. Make it concise.
So my whole point is, I'm guilty of this too. For many years, I got those huge income tax checks, and at some point, I met this lady who was very, she gave me advice. She's like a mother figure to me. And she told me I couldn't buy a house yet, right? Still, I'm getting to that point. But she told me, she said, you go buy you some jewelry, right? So every year I would buy this jewelry. I would put this jewelry on where I would buy it. Well, what happened was, when I'm broke, I can pawn my jewelry.
Pawn jewelry. Right. That's a hustler shit.
Something of value. But this is what this woman taught me, and it made sense to me, right? So, in a sense, I did. I told you, I keep speaking on my girlfriend who, for the second year in a row, she's bought a house with her income tax. I believe I know she has 2 houses. She may have 3 houses now. Well, she owns one of her houses. She's paying a mortgage on one house that she lives in, right? But she's purchased 2 houses each year. So I say that to say that if we want to know what they're going to do with reparations, we should watch what they've been doing with lump sums. I'm just saying, and to be honest.
Excuse me. Stop for a second. You kind of moving. I think you kind of moving away from your point. See, because this is the issue. I'm not concerned about. Wait. With reparations,
and when people spend money and people clown them and they make memes, I remind them that is what the purpose of. That's what the government expects us to do. Just what you said. You're going to give out reparations, and it's going to stimulate the economy. It does it every year. Every year they do the same thing.
Right.
We go out, we spend our money on Christmas.
Right.
Go buy all these things we don't have, what we don't need, with money we don't have. We go broke, and then we get it back at income tax, and we do it one more again. Right.
So
we
now,
do it one more again. See,
but hold on.
Who perfecting the art of being poor. Me and my kids have Christmas in March.
Now hold on.
We don't have no Christmas until disposable income comes. Okay, go ahead.
Now what I'm saying is, because I don't think we really disagreeing. Well, I mean, I can tell you where I will disagree with you on that tax return as reparations. I can tell you where I disagree with you on that. But the point is, there is a mutual benefit that is received by the party that is receiving the money and a party that's giving the money, or in a sense that, or releasing the money, because it never belonged to that party in the first place. You understand what I'm saying? So the government is releasing money that they know is going to be spent into the economy, which is going to stimulate the economy, which is for a period of time is going to produce growth in the economy. Now, this is why I would say, so that goes back to our story. So let me connect it for the people that's listening. The story is about finding usefulness. Like, for example, the dude, the apple tree wasn't producing. So the man started cutting down the apple tree. When he found that the apple tree had honey in it, the tree became useful to him once again, right? And so he kept the tree. Hell with the sparrows. The sparrows still could use the tree. The grasshopper still could use the tree. But now the tree had become useful to the man once again, because even though it didn't produce apples, it produced honey for a short period of time. So now the tree is useful to the man again. So all I'm talking about is whatever arguments that we have about bringing something into our life, about bringing something new into the world, what we have to do is when we need others' assistance in bringing it, we have to show them their self-interest. So going back to the point that you said, when people got those tax returns, most people wasn't in doing investments or getting buying houses and refurbishing them, or getting jewelry that in a crunch you go in, you could trade in. You know what I'm saying? Most people was going out and buying objects that was produced in our economy, that made our economy strong and help keep the ball rolling until the next year, right? So now
you know what they're doing.
What?
A lot of times we continue to we're making other people rich.
But hold on now, see, but you going this is the issue. You're taking it to another piece, right? Because I agree with you. I'm not disagreeing with you, but this discussion is not about what people are doing with their money. See, because that's like because now this is where I'm gonna say that's not reparations, and that's not. I don't think it's fair for you to put this in the context of reparations, because what people always say is, well, they're getting subsidized housing, they're getting this, blah, blah, blah. That should be reparations. Now, that is not...
I didn't say that should be reparations. Oh, no, I never said that.
Oh, girl,
I definitely never said that.
Stop. I'm going to bring this tomorrow. When you sitting in there and I'm sitting in there, I want to play it. I'm going to go back to the part where you said that is viewed as reparations. That should be reparations.
I said that income tax. I'm not talking.
That's what I'm talking about.
Saying that my point in bringing up their living arrangements is to say that they're not spending that money.
But hold on,
they're not spending that money.
Who's not spending the money?
They're not.
Who is they? You telling me poor people?
So let me say this one more time.
You saying the people that's getting...
more time. And I don't want to offend anyone. But what I'm going to tell you is that I have a huge problem with the fact that the system is not set up and has never been set up to help those who are helping themselves. And so what I'm saying is someone like me who why? Okay, call somewhere else. There's 10 million pizza places. Hello?
I'm listening to
So what I'm saying is the system is not set up to help those who help themselves. The system is set up for those who are complacent. So there is a benefit to those in power to keep people what is it called? Comfortable?
Right.
Stagnant?
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, all of that.
Okay.
There's a system in place to keep people comfortable and stagnant, right? And so, with that being said, those people who stay in those positions, who stay in that place, are rewarded. And the way that they are rewarded is that you get subsidized housing, you get food stamps, and then someone like me won't get any help, right? Don't get any help. And it's very unfortunate because that's a whole nother topic. That's a whole other topic. But my point in saying it was they're not all year long. I'm contributing to the economy.
Okay.
I don't get
Lady
no
J.
I don't get no kickback.
Lady J.
I don't get no kickback.
Lady J, time out.
Yes.
Time out. Please, time out. Because you're taking it in a different direction, right? So you did kind of use a comparison of reparations in that I'm going to go back and when me and you sitting down, I'm going to show you what you said. Maybe okay. Maybe you misspoke. And this the only disagreement I got with that, right? Because reparations will have to be set up exclusively for the class of people who are DOS. All right. Now, other than that, because there's plenty of other peoples that's getting that money at the end of the year. I'm talking about exclusive thing for exclusive class of people. Now, I'm not guiding what people do with their money. I already know what a majority of our folks may do with the money. What I'm concerned about is the minority and what that minority is going to do with their money, right? And the minority is the group that I talk to on a regular basis, that will take the money and will do and have investments. A majority. The fact of the matter is that it may be a majority of us that's going to go out and fuck that money over, right? And that's going to stimulate the economy, while the other ones could do some nation building things. Because it's like once you get your reparations, I can't control what you do with that. You know what I'm saying? Just like with your taxes, I can't control what you do with that. You know what I'm saying? Because it's been very rarely that I've been able to even get any, like, you know what I'm saying? But I do understand that a lot of people that complain about this so-called welfare from the state have, in some form or fashion, in the past, been able to stand up on that and make it through the system, and now look back and be like, it's a shame what people are doing with it, but you know, a few of us have been able to benefit from some of this shit that we complain about that people get now. You know what I'm saying? But now, Miss Cynthia Johnson said, I have received benefits. Hold on.
Can I say something?
Yeah, you can say something after I get Miss Cynthia Johnson. Lines are open at 614-556-4535. 614-556-4535. Miss Cynthia Johnson said, I have received benefits before and I want to help and improve myself, and never once have I considered it reparations. Whole nother topic. And FYI, I never pawn anything. I just worked it out because that's what I do. Make it happen. Go ahead, girl. You must be reading my stories or something. Make it happen. All right. So go ahead, Lady J. Shouts out to Patar Rod. I see you out there, bro.
The viewpoint that I came with, my view, it actually, and I know that sometimes, you know, I make this personal, but I just want to share this. And y'all tell me what y'all think about this, right?
Lady J,
you tell me what you think about it.
Hold on. Let me say this, Lady J. The only way we learn is by making it personal. You're a teacher and you know this. Okay. So, I mean, the best way for us to learn and for other people to learn is, and family, I need y'all to understand, we don't all have to agree. We don't never have to agree. As a matter of fact, I think we just had a proverb last week, Lady J, that kind of proved a point that you constantly bring to me. If we all agree all the goddamn time, we're not going to be able to grow. Right? And that's what I appreciate about what you bring, because it takes a lot of courage. I mean, because you have some different views. And it takes a very powerful and confident person to share those views. You know what I'm saying? Just like me. I mean, I do my show. I don't agree with everybody. You know what I'm saying? I try to make it as peaceful as possible and be like, I don't necessarily agree with that shit. But sometimes I need somebody like you to come on and be like, wait a minute, let me talk. Go ahead, wait. Miss Cynthia Johnson got one more thing. People lives and circumstances change. I'm not talking about people who abuse the system. That's what she's. But go ahead, Lady J.
So some years ago, I was in college, right? And so I got a full ride to OSU. I was a teen mom, I got this child. Full ride? This child is with me at OSU, right?
How you get? Wait, hold on. How you get a free ride at OSU?
Academics 43213. I got academic scholarship. Academic.
What was your grade point average?
For minority. I got a minority scholarship.
Oh, you got one of those welfare programs.
Yeah, I applied at OSU and I had the grades. I graduated with a very high GPA.
What was your GPA?
Huh?
What was your GPA?
Probably about a 3.9, 3.8, 3.7, something like that.
Okay, I'm just saying. I mean, because I had a full scholarship. I had like a 3.2. And I know.
I was, if you go to Northland right now, you'll see my name on a plaque in the Hallway Hall of Fame.
I've been in Northland.
I had on the road every quarter. I was there.
I've been in Northland several times. I've never seen your name.
And this you got to go outside the attendance office, but you'll see my name right on the plaque. I was there the other day. It's still there. But
I'm not counting perfect attendance.
Let me say this. So let me go back just a little taste. So I grew up in the projects, right? Mm-hmm. I am the product of a pimp and his whore. My mother was a prostitute. She was a dope fiend, right? She was a heroin addict. So, but what my parents were, though they had their vices, my parents were they valued education, right? So there was this piece where we don't care what you do, but you got to go to college, right? So all through my life, I am working towards getting to college, right? I think I learned the word scholarship as a preschooler, right? And so this is how I worked. And my dad had told me you were going to go for free. We don't have no money to pay for you to go to college. You got to go for free. You got to go to OSU. That was the stipulation. So anyways, I work. Have a baby, still working hard. Lose my mom 3 months after that baby, 14 years old. I'm still working hard. So I get this scholarship. I'm in college now, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm on welfare. Been on welfare my whole life, right? My mom been on welfare since she started having children, right? So so I'm on this welfare. So I'm in college. I go to the welfare office one day. The woman tells me, now mind you, I'm in school full time. I'm taking care of a child, and I'm getting food stamps, right? The woman tells me that in order to continue to get my food stamps, I have to work, say they upped it from 20 to 30 hours a week. They were just going through some welfare changes, but say it was 20 hours. Say they had just upped it and it's 20 hours a week. So I say to her, I don't know when I would be able to work this many hours. You know what I'm saying? I have this child. I'm going to have to do daycare. I'm in school full time. I don't understand. She said, well, school is an option. School is an option. So I never forgot that, because that day I left and I told them that I won't take your food stamps. I'll figure out how to get my own food. I'm not about to sacrifice school, knowing that if self-sufficiency is my ultimate goal, it behooves me to drop out of school to get a job making minimum wage, right? It behooves me. So I would rather I'd rather go to a pantry. I'd rather figure out how to feed myself. So I gave it up that day. Well, they ended up, this woman was wrong. The school, we had our own caseworker for the girls who were in this program at OSU. That's gone, neither here nor there. Years go by.
Wait, hold on. Do you remember your caseworker's name at OSU?
The program is called the Access Program. The Access Program is for single parents, right? Single parents.
Did you stay in those apartments? Did you stay in those apartments? Did you stay in those apartments over?
I sure did.
Wow.
Student family housing. I sure did, and not only that it was so slick back then that while I was a part of the program, Section 8 gave OSU 10 Section 8 vouchers a year. And OSU would decide which 10 students within this program they would give these Section 8 vouchers to. So I never had to go get on a waiting list for Section 8. Because of my grades at OSU, and while I was in this program called the Access Program, I was provided one of those Section 8 vouchers, right? So years go by, I want to live in this house. I'm already teaching part-time, right? So Section 8 is paying my rent. So I don't want to move. This is when gentrification first started, right? So Section 8 did not want to pay landlords the money that they was asking for in the hood. But you could move out to somewhere off of Sawmill and get this apartment and pay that same amount, right? But they did not, because of the property values in the inner city, they would not pay a landlord. Say the house was my house was $795. Section 8 said no, they would not pay that. So I ended up giving up my Section 8 certificate too, because at the end of the day, like I said, I was working, so they were only paying a very small portion of my rent, literally $5. Literally. I would rather not be on Section 8, not have you coming in my house, not have to come report my income, not have to do these things and take your things. So that is when I realized that this system was flawed. But even with the creation of the system, with the welfare system, the housing programs, and these were not designed for us to begin with, not for black people. A lot of these things were put into place for soldiers, right? So at some point, we can say benefits, whatever. We reap that. So I'm not saying that these programs and these things are. I'm not saying that they're not okay for people moving themselves, but I'm saying it's very easy, and my family is proof of it, that these things could debilitate you. Am I saying that right? These things could stifle you. These things can get you in a complacent state.
Or like in your case, could stimulate you to move beyond them because of the limits that they put on you that you like. I'm not going to do that shit. So I mean, it's a double-edged sword. So but a lot of times what we focus on is the negatives. Now let's bring it back to the story, because the whole piece is when you, like for example, in a certain case, you were the peasant with the axe chopping down the tree until something worked out for you, because you was going to chop down, like for example, the tree for you at one point in time was the fact that they told you that in order for you to get food stamps, you was going to have to work 20 hours a week. But you was in school, you was doing good at school, and you said, fuck it, I'm going to chop this tree down. I don't want to hear your song about food stamps. I'm going to chop this goddamn tree down because y'all don't, you know what I'm saying? Because it don't benefit me no more. And once you start chopping, you found out that that woman was wrong and the honey was in the tree, so you was still able to get your benefits. You understand what I'm saying? And continue doing what you was doing. The point I'm saying, because I don't want us to get off arguing about benefits, but let me read what Patar Ross say. Brother says, even if I admit that I am wrong, does not mean that you are right. We have been through enough just being black. We are the smallest percentage of the population of people who ever got welfare. And that's another reason that we can't count it as reparations, because reparations are above and beyond to help with the repair. And that's all I'm saying. Now, as a society, we all pay taxes, one, so that we can make sure we got the common goods around us, like the roads and the protection of the borders and shit like that, and the mechanism so that we go to war and actually do empire building, because that's what we might need to start looking at. Rather than calling ourselves nation builders, we might need to be empire builders, because that's what everybody else in the world is. But also we pay into the state so that we can help take care of those who may not be able to take care of themselves. That's part of it. Although some people will not want to admit that, that's part of the reason that we come together as a group, as a society, so that we can help supplement those around us. We can make life easier for those around us. And that works in two ways. One, you have one who receives the freedom and blossoms and create new things. And then you got the other that may receive these benefits and may just chill. But that's, you know what I'm saying? That's part of the balance that you strike. You know what I'm saying? That's part of the chance that you take as a group. And we got to understand, everybody is not going to be highly productive in a group. Some going to be highly productive. Some is not going to be productive at all. But it all balances out. It all balances out. You was one of those who was able to balance it out. Now, but like I said, bringing it back, you know what I'm saying?
You know what it is?
Go ahead.
I had this conversation the other day, and I finally met someone who agreed with me, and I think they agreed with me, and that doesn't happen often. But the conversation was rounded around who this idea of this American dream. The reason why I was able to overcome is because my people are the true example of the American dream. We are the people who pulled themselves up from the bootstraps. We are the people who got knocked down and kept getting back up. We are the people that made something out of nothing. That is who my people are. And so I've done nothing different than what my ancestors have done. They gave me a lemon and I made lemonade, but this is our history. This is what we have done. So when I did, that's my whole piece. I am the American dream. So, and I think I might have said that the other day on here, but that's what my conclusion was. At the end of the day, I've done nothing more I've done nothing different than my ancestors.
Now, but what I want for you to take the dream farther is that I want for the floodgates of the wealth that was denied to your ancestors to help you take the dream farther. Because America is limiting itself. You know, if you truly love America, America is limiting itself by not dealing with a crucial part of its past and trying to sweep us up under the rug and trying to disrespect us in so many different ways. You know what I'm saying? By denying.
Do we go take our reparations? That's my answer.
Baby. Hold on. Wait, time out. Because you already have something in your mind. Because you think that I'm just talking about sitting around asking for reparations. And you already know that I'm already training the future politicians for that. I'm already training the future food growers for that. I'm already training those so that we could go and take what is ours. But at the same time, we got to.
And what do we do in the meantime?
In the meantime, we do what we doing, right? We make shit happen. I mean, what else can we do? You know what I'm saying? I'm making shit happen. I don't, you know, I thought you was making shit happen. What you mean? I mean, you part of my family. You see, we making it happen, right? I'm just saying. We need to be, the floodgates need to be opened up, and until then, because it's going to happen, without a shadow of a doubt. Because in a minute, we're going to be having a couple of cities, and we're going to be running those motherfuckers, and we're going to have politicians that we're going to be able to ask politicians the question of how do you stand with reparations, and we're going to be able to vote your ass out of local office if you're not in agreement with us, because that's what everybody else do. We know how to work the game now. We know how to curb some of the economic pieces, because some of our young people that's coming up, some of the business ideas that they have may be some of the next big things, or just may be small enough that we might be able to invest in as a group and develop enough economic power so that we can start financing some of our own politicians. I'm just saying. The whole piece is, I've never been talking about sitting around waiting for shit. I've never been about sitting around waiting for shit. I make it happen. Just like you said, like your ancestors did. And my whole piece is, I don't want us to get so highfalutin or get so brainwashed that we start saying shit like, oh, they already gave us our reparations. Fuck that. You owe me, bitch. Pay me. I
always got to go back to my friend in Georgia who had an argument on 2 Hours to Power that said that his people received their reparations. If our people would have been killed, they would have got their land and they knew.
If they would have what?
This is what this man, and that's not what I said. This is what this man said.
What he say?
He's talking about the property that his family has had in their within his, you know what I'm saying, the property that they received, that allowed him to be able to make the moves with the Black Utopia Society and all the stuff that he's doing wherever he's at in the South.
All right,
so
cool.
I'm just saying people's argument.
Let me just see, because when you come at me with stuff, please come with some documentations, not just the hearsay of one nigga down south. I'm just being honest with you. One nigga down south whose family may have stayed on some land. Like I said, because if we look at the Freedmen Bank and we look at some of the shit that went on after what was it called? Right after the Civil War. What was it? You a teacher, you know. Come on. Reconstruction, right? After Reconstruction, and then after the North and the Great Compromise between the North and the South, and they let that shit go, right? And all the land that was taken and all the shit that was promised that was never given. I don't know where this nigga's talking about. Niggas kept their shit, but there was a few.
He's talking about in the South, and we
wait.
know
Where
that is
hold
true.
on, this the point.
Well,
Where
we know,
in the South?
We know that it is true. And
no, we don't.
We know.
No, we
do
don't.
know that it's true.
Why is your ass
yeah,
here?
We know.
Why you here?
Your ancestors. So you know that when the army went in there and took all that property that they were selling it for next to nothing and giving it away, right? So some people did secure land. We do know that to be a fact. That there were families in the South, black people, who purchased their land for a little bit of nothing, or was given land. Not much, but by way of the army. We do know that there is historical accounts of that.
Lady,
now, I'm not saying just like...
Lady J, is that the majority or is that a small minority? See, this is what I'm talking about.
I said that. I didn't say it was the majority.
So if it's not the majority of us, I mean, it's like, I mean, if it's not it, why do you base your arguments around a small group of motherfuckers? When a majority of our people,
I'm not basing my argument.
But that's what you're doing. You're using that. You're using that to say. Your whole argument is that no. You saying listen. So why bring it up? If a minority received something that the majority was supposed to get, what good is it?
Okay, so let me again say this, Tim. Let me again say this.
You just be trying to torment me. I'm about to have a stroke up here.
I already said it. We are the American dream. We are the American dream. I don't know the
so you don't want. So if I go and get reparations, you don't want them. Because what I'm gonna start doing, I'm going to form a reparations list so that when we do get what we supposed to be getting, and and people think I'm joking. When we do get it, I'm going to make sure that every motherfucker out here who's talking now, whether they're indigenous and they ain't supposed to get shit, or like you because you're the American dream already, you don't need it. Right?
Yep, I'm going to continue to do what I've been doing, what my ancestors have been doing. I'm just going to
so you don't want it.
do that.
I'll say it right now, say it out loud so I could go and record this on 7/24/2018.
Okay.
Lady J don't want.
Let me say
Lady
this.
J, you don't want your reparations. No, I'll just say.
My reparations that I'm seeking, and I don't know what type of so yes, I do believe that a people is owed a reparations. Now, what that looks like in the form of what that might be
that ain't part of the discussion. Do you want them or not?
Yeah.
However they come.
I want anything I'm due, but
okay, cool. Well, be quiet.
It's a different argument.
Stop it. You gonna argue yourself out of it because I thought you was gonna say you ain't want it. See, because I'm sitting up here like, come on now. I mean, because I be hearing these arguments from black folks.
Why would I not want something that is due to me?
Wait, because you are the American dream. You have already got it. You done earned it. You done pulled yourself up by your bootstraps. So why you want a free handout? That make you like these welfare recipients that you was just kind of take advantage of the system. You don't want to do that. You don't want to be one of those bloodsuckers on society that's just taking money that don't belong to them. We're not owed anything.
Let me clarify this.
We was brought over to America. We had all the opportunities.
I'm not calling them. Let me clarify.
I ain't saying that you called them that. I'm not telling you. Hold on. I'm not saying that you said that. I'm not saying that you said that. See, but you're telling on yourself about some of your feelings because listen, I didn't say that you said that, but there is a segment of the population that believe that.
My whole point in bringing up income taxes was to say that, and I made this point when I ended my argument, was to say that people will do the same thing that they do with these large sums of money that they get.
That's not your business.
Exactly, it's not.
That's not your business.
Every tax season,
so listen,
it's not my business.
Listen, but the issue that is our business is that however it comes, because America is going to have to balance this out. Especially as we start moving into the times that we're moving into. Because right now, whether people know it or not, the boundaries are being tested right now. And either the American...
Can I say something, Tim?
Go ahead.
I do feel like I am a very simple person. I'm a very simple person. And so though I get the reparations talk, I'm so simple to the point where I want things that will happen tomorrow. I want to know, what can I do today? What can I do tomorrow that will help the movement, right? And so I get that. I know, I agree, and we've had a conversation offline where we talked about politics and the need to get our young people.
We did it online too,
and into politics. We have agreed on that. So that's something that we are in the process of doing, cultivating these politicians, cultivating these political thinkers. But again, the reason why my thoughts for reparations are the way that they are is because I want to talk about here and now. We talked about, for example, we talked about the fact you said, oh, we need to be paying taxes to ourselves. But right now, tomorrow, today, I can download an app on my phone where I start at least saving, right? So I can start this process. So what am I doing in the meantime, in between time? What can the people do today? Now, what can the people do tomorrow?
Right. So now, things that we can do. Now, for example, you can check out some of the stuff that we're doing at Gye-Nyame Journey. You could join organizations like Simba and Simpson, see what they're doing. But then also, like with Gye-Nyame Journey, one of the things that we do is that we do collect dues. Right, so that we can have some money on hand, so that we can make some moves, because there's certain things that need to be done now, regardless of whether we're waiting for reparations and stuff like that. There's certain things that need to be popping off. You can look at some of the some of the things that's going on with organizations like Tyree Village and start participating, where you got individuals coming together and thinking alike enough to where we can, one, challenge each other, because there's going to be some people like yourself that comes in with challenging views that make everybody have to either stretch or get away. You understand what I'm saying? And we have money where we can start doing some economic things, some economic growth, and we can start educating our young people, not just educating our young people, but showing and demonstrating to our young people the importance of being involved, not just politically, economically, and socially in the development of the community. Now, and this is what I'm going to say, as a nation builder or an empire builder or a nation maintainer, or however you see yourself, you have to be future minded. You not only got to be able to handle the now, but as nation builders, we have to be able to project a vision that our children can embrace, or that we can get other people to embrace, so that we could be moving towards something. Because if we constantly just focus on where we are now, we can become depressed. But if we are able to create a future that other people can see, that we can feel in our hearts, we can start moving towards it. So being a nation builder is more than just about just dealing in the moment, even though the moment is the most important, and I agree with you. But we got to be able to create a vision that moves our young people to somewhere else, and that can help.
So that is our vision. That is where we're going, right?
Right.
That is where we're headed.
And that might not be, and you might not get there tomorrow. Right? You're not going to get there tomorrow.
I agree.
Right.
So my example that I use is to say that me individually saving puts me in a position so that when someone comes and there is an opportunity for a co-op, for me to be part owner or to go in and combine my funds with individuals to own something, I have it. So it is me preparing now for what is to come later. So I'm not saying that I'm not.
But hold on, check this out.
I'm not thinking we need to think about the future, but I'm thinking after we have figured that out, what are our steps that we do now?
So now, like you said, so for example, if I'm given to an organization on a regular basis, hopefully in that organization's training, they're talking about personal investments. You understand what I'm saying? Because you know what I'm saying? Because you're going to have to start doing something. Because really, the reality of it is, well, I'm not going to even go into that, because that should get kind of depressing when you really look at the figures as far as the money. You know what I'm saying? Because, a lot of us be like, you can save, you should be saving, right? But then we look at our savings and it's all fucked up. Why? because of the economic situation that we in, and that economic situation is a result of the legacy in which we carry. People. But that's a whole nother argument, a whole nother discussion. I'm not gonna go into it.
It may also be a result of socialization.
Well, yeah, too. I mean, which is socialization is a product of legacy, is it not? You know what I'm saying? The legacy we come from often shapes who and what we are, which is socialization, right? Unless we take control of that. Like, that's why cultures have rites of passage, so that they can go on and guide the development of the young mind, develop the development of the individuals within that culture. Cultures take control of that, right? And since we don't have a culture that does that, then the only thing that is running rampant amongst our people is the legacy that we come from. And that legacy we come from is a very terrible legacy, and one that was not necessarily shaped by us. Which means that we're forwarding to outside control. But what you're trying to do, what I'm trying to do, is provide some control from within our own culture by plugging people back into something so that they understand that there's something bigger than themselves. See, because most of our people out here that might not be plugged into something like yourself believe that they are the most important thing. They believe that the universe revolves around them. This is why I could go out and buy me $1,000 pair of shoes and not have, and not own a goddamn house. Or I could buy me some motherfucking rims that cost more than my car. You understand what I'm saying? Because the whole world rotates around me, and me being able to get what I want from the world by demonstrating that I'm more than that, rather than having an innate feeling that, even without this shit, I don't need that in order to be. As a matter of fact, I know that in a sense, me going out and spending all that money is a front to everything that my people stand for. We're not setting that, and we need to set that right now in the present, right? So that we can have people that's able to discipline themselves and move towards the vision. Because sometimes moving towards the vision requires sacrifice, like you say, and being able to save. So now I have a reason. I have a mandate to save. I have a mandate to, in a sense, pay my cultural tax. You know what I'm saying? And I can't get mad and be like, I'm gonna take it all back, like some of us do. You know what I'm saying? I mean, whatever group you with, you need to be paying something on a monthly basis. You need to be giving, or in a sense, taxing yourself, because the United States government don't even ask you for your goddamn money. Soon as before you get your check, you're paying your membership dues to the United States of America. So, as black folks in America, we need to be paying dues. Damn, my battery low. So you done made me, look at, draining my battery, Lady J.
Mm-hmm.
But I appreciate you as I usually do. I thank you for calling in and rapitating with me. But family, it's time for us to go and shut it down. I hope we covered the folktale. I don't know if we even covered the damn folktale, but it was a good conversation. It was a good conversation. I thank you for calling in. I thank those people for joining us. Miss Cynthia Johnson, Mr. Patal Ra, Miss Cynthia, Miss CeeLo, Miss Jill Jackson. I don't know if anybody joined us on the Spreaker app, but they will catch up with us in the future, because we have a lot of people that's downloading. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people that's coming and listening on the app. Be sure to download the app. The t-shirt is on its way. You know what I'm saying? I'm still working on that right now. And I'm out. So y'all have a great night, and I will see you in the morning for the Daily Toast. So be looking out for the black signal. You know what I'm saying? And I do what I do because I'm black man. You know what I'm saying? All right, and I'm out. Y'all take it easy. Peace out, Spreaker.